Welcome to Lurix. This is Jahanzaib, and I have one question for you. How do you know that the world around you is real? The chair you sit on, the air you breathe, the people you love, are they truly there, or are they only inside your mind? Pause. Let this sink in, because right now, scientists, philosophers, and thinkers from the ancient past to modern labs are daring to ask the same thing. What if everything, the entire universe, is just a construct of your perception? Imagine this. You dream at night, and inside that dream, you feel pain, joy, love, fear. You run, you fall, you touch. For you, in that moment, the dream is real. But when you wake, you call it an illusion. Now here's the unsettling thought. What if your waking life is just another dream? One your mind never wakes up from? Do you feel your heart racing right now? That is the beginning of the rabbit hole. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever reached for your phone because you thought it buzzed? But when you looked, nothing was there? Or maybe you swore you saw someone standing in the corner of your room, only to blink and find emptiness. These are tiny cracks in the system of your reality. Your brain is filling in the blanks, writing stories for you, convincing you that what you saw, what you felt, what you heard was real. But if your brain can lie to you about small things, what about everything else? And here's the wow factor. Modern neuroscience tells us that the world you see isn't the world itself. It's a reconstruction. Your eyes don't send you reality. They send electricity, little pulses of energy, which your brain translates into pictures. So you don't see the world. You see your brain's version of the world. Think about this. When photons of light bounce off an object, a tree, a book, your reflection, they hit your eyes. But your eyes don't see a tree. They see patterns of light, shapes, wavelengths. Your brain then creates the illusion of a tree. That means everything you've ever seen is a hallucination, one that just happens to agree with everyone else's hallucination. Scientists even call this controlled hallucination. Reality as we know it might not exist out there. It exists in here, inside your head. But if that's true, then how do you know I exist right now? You hear my voice, you may see images on your screen, but isn't that too just your brain making sense of signals? Let's make it personal. Right now, look around your room. The colors, the shapes, the objects. Now close your eyes. Where did they go? In that moment, they only existed as memory inside your mind. So here's the haunting thought. Do things exist when you are not observing them? Quantum mechanics, the science that studies the smallest particles in the universe, actually suggests maybe not. The double-slit experiment shows that particles don't take form until they're observed. Reality waits for you. It needs you to exist. So is the universe even out there, or is it being rendered like a video game, only when you look at it? Now let's tie this all together. Every time you dream, every time you imagine, every time you recall a memory, your brain creates an entire universe in which you live for a moment. So how do you know that this very moment isn't another one of those? What if you are right now inside someone else's dream? What if you yourself are just an idea being imagined? So here's my question for you, the one I want you to answer in the comments. Do you believe the world exists without you? Or is it only real because your mind creates it? Because if everything is truly in your mind, then maybe, just maybe, you are not living in the world. The world is living in you. Think about it for a moment. If your mind is the one painting reality, then how fragile is it? Have you ever seen a child cry over a nightmare, and in that moment, their tears are as real as if a monster had truly attacked them? Or have you woken up from a dream with your heart pounding, your body sweating, because your brain made you believe something was happening, even though it wasn't? Here's the unsettling truth. The fear was real, the heartbeat was real, the sweat was real, even though the monster wasn't. So if your body reacts to illusions the same way it reacts to reality, then how can you draw the line between what is real and what is not? Maybe reality is not about what exists. Maybe it's about what your mind believes exists. And belief, my friend, is the most powerful architect of reality. Let me give you something shocking from science. In neuroscience, there's a condition called synesthesia. Some people can hear colors or taste sounds. For them, a trumpet might taste like honey, or the number 7 might always glow bright red. To them, it is reality. But to you, it's madness. Who is right? Both. Because the brain decides what reality is. Now here's where it gets even stranger. Studies show that every person actually lives in their own private reality. Your brain filters billions of signals every second and only shows you what it thinks matters. So when two people argue about what they saw, they may both be correct because they saw two different realities. Doesn't that mean each of us lives in a separate universe? And doesn't that mean the world you think you know is not the same world I know? Let me bring this down to daily life again. Think about when you fight with someone you love. You swear you're right, they swear they're right. To you, the world looks one way. To them, it looks completely different. And no matter how hard you try, you can't see it the way they do. That's because you literally can't. Your brain has built a world with your memories, your emotions, your scars, your joys. Their brain has done the same. So the next time you think you're fighting about facts, remember, you may not even be fighting about the same world. You may both be trapped inside your own versions of it. Isn't it terrifying to think that every handshake, every argument, every love story is actually happening in two different worlds at once? Yours and theirs. Now let's return to science because it gets even crazier. In quantum physics, the famous thought experiment of Schrödinger's cat asks, what if a cat in a box is both alive and dead until you open it? Reality doesn't decide until you observe. But what if that isn't just about cats or particles? What if the entire universe is like that box? Half alive, half dead, half possible, half impossible, until you look at it. Scientists call this the observer effect. It suggests that your very act of looking, of existing, forces the universe into shape. That means you're not just living in the world, you are creating it. So the question is, are you a character wandering in a story? Or are you the author writing it with every glance? Now pause. Let this idea burn in your mind. If your observation is creating reality, then what about the things you don't observe? What happens to the street outside your house when you're not looking? Does it vanish into nothing, waiting for you to glance at it again? Does the past even exist when you're not remembering it? Does the future exist before you imagine it? So I'll ask you directly. Answer me in the comments. Do you think reality exists when you are not there to see it? Or does it come alive only for you? Because if the universe truly flickers in and out depending on your mind, then the world you live in isn't out there. It's being projected inside of you. And maybe, just maybe, you've been mistaking the projector for the movie screen your entire life. Think about time itself. You believe yesterday is behind you and tomorrow is ahead. But where are they, really? You can't touch yesterday. You can't touch tomorrow. All you ever experience is this thin slice called now. And yet, your brain tricks you into believing that you move through a timeline. In truth, you're always standing in the present, while your mind carries the ghost of yesterday and the illusion of tomorrow. Scientists call this the psychological arrow of time. But here's the disturbing part. Physics doesn't require time to flow at all. Equations work perfectly fine without the concept of past or future. So maybe time isn't real. It's just another construction in your mind to keep you sane. Have you ever wondered why two people can experience the same event, but remember it completely differently? Because memory isn't a recording, it's a reconstruction. Every time you recall an event, your brain edits it. Like a painter reworking the same canvas, it changes colors, shifts details, even invents things. And that new version becomes your truth. So your past isn't sitting neatly behind you like a photo album. It's being rewritten every time you think of it. Your past is as fluid as your future. If that's true, then the world you live in is not fixed. It's constantly reshaping itself inside your head. Your reality is less like a stone and more like a dream being rewritten in every heartbeat. Now, let's look at the edges where reality itself breaks. Have you ever had déjà vu, when a moment feels like it already happened? Or jamais vu, when something familiar suddenly feels alien, like seeing it for the first time? Science explains déjà vu as a glitch in memory processing. But doesn't it feel like a window cracking open, showing you another version of yourself in another world? For just a moment, you swear you've lived this before. Is that just a brain hiccup? Or is it proof that your mind brushes against other timelines? And what about dreams, where you live entire lifetimes in seconds? Where your heart races, you feel love, you feel fear, and everything is real until you wake up. Maybe that's not fantasy. Maybe dreams are your mind sampling other realities, other universes that only exist because you touched them. Stand before a mirror. Look into your own eyes. That face staring back at you. Is it you? Or is it just another version trapped on the other side, moving in perfect synchronization because your mind tells it to? Every reflection is an illusion. Light bounces, your brain processes it, and then creates the image. But here's the unsettling part. Without your brain decoding it, the reflection isn't there at all. It's only patterns of light, meaningless until you assign meaning. So ask yourself this: what if your reflection is more real than the world around you? Because at least you know it only exists inside your mind. And now we reach a haunting thought. If reality is made in your mind, if time is constructed, if memories are rewritten, if dreams are as real as waking life, then what happens when your mind shuts down? Does the world vanish with you? Does reality collapse the instant your perception ends? Or do we each live in our own separate universes, carrying them like lanterns in the dark, extinguished one by one as we fall into silence? And here's the question I want you to wrestle with. Comment your thoughts below. Is there one shared reality we all live in? Or are you the only true consciousness, projecting everyone else into existence? Because if reality truly exists only in your mind, then the greatest illusion is not the world around you, but the idea that anyone else is real at all. Have you ever noticed the blind spot in your vision? That place in your eye where no light is detected, yet your brain fills in the missing piece. You don't see a whole, you see a complete picture. But here's the chilling part. Your entire life may be built on these invisible gaps. Your brain is constantly editing, smoothing, and inventing details to make reality feel continuous. So how much of what you see is truly there, and how much is your mind painting over the holes? If your brain can lie so seamlessly, how would you ever know? Consider the power of hallucinations. A person in the desert sees water shimmering, drinks it, and swallows sand. Another hears voices in silence. A third feels bugs crawling under their skin that don't exist. Science calls these malfunctions of the brain. But think carefully. To the person experiencing them, they are utterly real. Their body reacts with thirst, fear, pain. So who are we to say their reality is false, and ours is true? If perception creates reality, then every hallucination is a valid universe. Which makes you wonder, what if your reality is just one long, shared hallucination? Now step outside your body into the cosmos. Physicists tell us that 95% of the universe is invisible. Dark matter and dark energy, things we cannot see, cannot touch, yet they shape galaxies and hold reality together. That means the universe you believe is solid and visible is mostly an illusion. It's like reading a book where most of the words are missing, yet your mind still constructs a story. So let me ask, are you living in the universe? Or are you only living in the fraction of it your mind allows you to see? And if most of existence is hidden, can we even claim to know what reality is at all? Look at the people around you, your family, your friends, your strangers passing by on the street. You think you know them, you think they are real. But pause for a moment. You don't see them as they are. You see them as your mind paints them. Their tone of voice triggers memories. Their gestures awaken emotions. Their faces are filtered through your past experiences. In truth, you never meet another person. You only ever meet your mind's version of them. So is love real? Or is it your brain weaving an illusion of connection? Is hate real or just shadows your mind throws on another face? If every relationship exists only in your perception, then maybe the people you love most exist only in your head. And now comes the question that keeps philosophers awake at night. If the world exists only in your mind, then what happens when you sleep? Does reality pause? Does the universe switch off like a candle in the dark, waiting for you to open your eyes again? Or does someone else's mind keep it alive until you return? And if that's true, then whose mind is the real one? Yours, mine, or none at all? Tell me this, when you wake tomorrow morning, how will you know the world didn't just begin in that moment, fully formed, with all your memories implanted to make it feel consistent? You can't prove otherwise. And that, perhaps, is the most terrifying truth. Reality is not out there waiting for you. It may be nothing more than the story your mind whispers to itself. Close your eyes for a second. Not yet, but imagine you did. The moment your eyelids fall, the world around you vanishes. The streets outside, the cars, the cities, the sky, all of it dissolves into silence. And yet, you don't panic, because your mind fills in the darkness with memory, with imagination, with expectation. You trust that when you open your eyes, the world will be waiting for you again. But what if it isn't? What if every blink is a rebirth of reality, stitched together at the speed of thought, tricking you into believing in continuity? Because here's a truth most people cannot bear to face. The world you see is not continuous. It flickers like frames in a film reel, rebuilt every instant by your brain. Neuroscientists have found that the brain processes vision in bursts, snapshots, yet you experience it as a seamless flow. Why? Because your mind is lying to you, blending the gaps together into a smooth illusion. What else is it hiding from you? If reality is already a film reel inside your head, then who is directing the movie? Now, imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you've been in a simulation your entire life. Not the digital kind, not like the Matrix, but a biological one, your brain constructing every color, every sound, every taste, every memory. You've never once touched the real world. You've only touched your mind's version of it. Think about it. When you place your hand on a table, you don't feel the table. You feel the electrical signals your brain generates from nerve endings. The table could be anything or nothing at all, and you would never know. You're not touching reality. You're touching yourself. And science backs this. The philosopher Immanuel Kant argued centuries ago that we never know the thing in itself, the true essence of the world. We only know the phenomena, the filtered, reconstructed version our senses deliver. Modern neuroscience agrees. The colors you see do not exist in the outside world. The sound of music does not exist outside your ear. Light waves and air vibrations are meaningless until your brain assigns them qualities. So every rainbow, every song, every sunset, every voice, it's not reality. It's your mind painting reality onto a blank, invisible canvas. The world outside is silent, colorless, shapeless. Everything beautiful you've ever experienced was created inside your skull. But if your brain can create a universe, what happens when it creates more than one? Take dreams. You spend a third of your life inside them. In dreams, you run, you love, you fear, you fall, you die. And in those moments, it feels just as real as this one. When you wake, you call it fake. But what if you're wrong? What if your dreams are just as valid a reality? And this one is merely the dream you haven't woken from yet. René Descartes asked, "How do I know that I am not dreaming?" And he never answered it, because you can't. The moment you try to prove you're awake, you're already using your dream logic to do it. There is no escape. But here's where it gets more dangerous. Science has begun to suggest that consciousness itself might not be bound to the brain. Some physicists believe consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. If that's true, then your mind is not trapped in your head. It's woven into the fabric of reality. And if reality is inside your mind, and your mind is inside reality, then you are both the dreamer and the dream. But which came first? And who is dreaming whom? Let me give you a question no one can truly answer. When you were born, when your eyes opened for the very first time, did the universe appear with you? Did the stars suddenly ignite, the oceans roar, the cities rise, all in that instant, just to give you a stage? And when you die, when your last thought fades, will that stage collapse into nothing? Does the universe survive without you? Or do you carry it with you, extinguished when you close your eyes forever? This is not philosophy, it's physics. Because in quantum mechanics, a particle's state isn't decided until it's observed. If no one observes it, what does it mean to exist? And if the entire universe requires an observer, then who is the ultimate observer? Some say God. Some say consciousness itself. Some say you. Now, let's test this in your daily life. Think of a friend you haven't seen in years. Right now, they exist only in your memory. Their face, their voice, their laugh, alive only in your mind. If you called them this moment, your brain would rebuild them into reality again. But until then, are they out there living their life? Or do they vanish until you bring them into being again? This is not a trick. Physicists like John Wheeler have suggested that the universe may be participatory, that reality requires interaction with consciousness to exist at all. So perhaps your friend does not exist outside your perception. Perhaps no one does. Perhaps the entire world vanishes every time you stop thinking about it. And if that's true, then you are not a passenger of reality. You are its engine. But if you are the creator, why do you feel trapped? Why do you feel small, afraid, lost? Because you don't realize you're dreaming. You've mistaken the illusion for the truth. It's like Plato's allegory of the cave. Prisoners staring at shadows on a wall, believing that's all there is. What if you are the prisoner, and everything you see, everything you touch is only shadows cast by your mind? If you turned around, would you see the real fire, or would you see nothing at all? Now here's the most disturbing idea of all. What if you are the only mind? This is called solipsism, the belief that only your consciousness exists and everything else is a projection. The people you love, the strangers in the street, even me speaking to you now, they are phantoms your mind generates to keep you company. You've never truly proven another consciousness exists. You assume it because the alternative is unbearable. But assumptions are not proof. If this is true, then you are utterly alone, a god inside an empty universe, surrounded only by shadows you mistake for others. But wait, if you are the only mind, then who are you listening to right now? My words, my voice, my presence. Where do they exist? Are you hearing me, or are you creating me? Am I inside your mind, or are you inside mine? Which of us is real? Both? Neither? And if the world is inside your mind, what about the future? When you imagine something, winning a lottery, losing someone you love, traveling to the stars, your brain simulates it so vividly that your body reacts. Your heart beats faster, your palms sweat, your pupils change. Your mind is not predicting reality, it is creating it in that moment. The simulation becomes your experience. So how do you know the future doesn't already exist in your mind, waiting for you to look at it? Maybe time itself is just the order in which your consciousness chooses to imagine events. Maybe tomorrow already happened, and you simply haven't scrolled to that page yet. And here's where it becomes unbearable. If everything is in your mind, then where are you? Who are you? If you strip away the world, strip away the people, strip away time, strip away memory, what remains? Just awareness, a bare, glowing spark of knowing. That's all you've ever had. That's all you are. And maybe that's all there is. So I leave you with one last thought, the heaviest of them all. Imagine right now, as you listen to me, that none of this is real. Your room isn't real. The ground beneath your feet isn't real. Even your own body isn't real. It is all a story your mind tells itself, moment by moment. But then ask, who is telling the story? If the world is in your mind, then what is your mind in? That is the paradox no human has ever solved. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point. Because if you ever solved it, the story would end.